So I want to start with, let's start with Miss Morgan. And I'm going to ask Miss Morgan to unmute her mic. Hi, Miss Morgan.
Hi, Christina, how are you? Hello, everyone.
Hi, I'm good. How are you? So can you please tell me a little bit about the academic support unit and how you have been assisting students virtually?
Virtually. All right. A little bit about the academic support unit overall and or just how we've been assisting students virtually.
Both, for students who are not even accustomed to the units.
Okay. All right. So the academic support unit, the slogan supporting student success, that's essentially what we're doing. Um, I would say we are two-pronged. We have two main focuses. That it would be what the unit originally started out with, which would be supplementary tutoring. So we have certain courses that were identified a few years back, over 10 years ago, that we found students were, that the courses had high failure rates. So some of these courses will be math-based courses, academic writing courses, and so on. So we have as tutors who come in and assist the students with that, one-on-one tutoring or small group tutoring. Outside of that, we have the advisory sessions that I do. It's a bit more focused, not general advising sessions, trying to identify any challenges that the students may be having, learning challenges, how is it that they can improve their self-management on campus, and so on. That's a very general response in terms of what the academic support unit does. How have we been assisting the students virtually? That's actually something we've been doing for a while now. We do mobile and online advising, and that's something that I implemented a couple years back. We do it. We were using Zoom before. We were using WhatsApp before as well. So the students who couldn't necessarily come in office, again, we have students who are working and so on. I would just say to them, can you come and do a session like this? So they would just sign up, we send them a link, and we do that. That's certainly continuing now. The WhatsApp is something that we decided to do just because not all students feel comfortable coming into an office space. There was a time when the unit I didn't have my own office. So students didn't feel comfortable coming into an open space. And I'm sure Dr. Chambers can speak about that. You want to have somewhere private for students to share certain feelings and so on. So when the unit didn't have the office, we implemented the WhatsApp service for them to share certain things. Voice notes certainly help, that kind of thing, so that they can just share whatever experiences that they're having. And that has certainly continued. And throughout this whole crisis that we're experiencing now, that's something that we have been continuing since. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Morgan. So I'm going to ask Dr. Chambers about the counseling unit.
I think you're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. So what services do the counseling unit provides, and are you still providing counseling services during this time period?
Yes, I can even share a slide with you actually with our information.
That's
But
great.
but the counseling unit is in the University Health Services, right? And so traditionally we have had 3 full-time counselors currently, 2 part-time counselors on the Mona campus. The Western Jamaica campus, we also have a part-time counselor. And we also are very fortunate to have a psychiatrist on the Mona campus, Dr. Nyameche Richards. So we have been a presence on campus to offer individual group counseling, workshops, crisis management to students, staff, and staff dependents. So quite a few. And we all have different approaches to our work. And so students pre-corona were able to walk in to see a counselor, to be screened, or just to talk about what brings the student in, and then to be assigned to a counselor. okay, to continue with individual counseling or be assigned to a workshop. Now, when Corona hit us, we had to completely transition. So we weren't savvy like Miss Morgan. We did not have virtual services at the time. So we hustled really hard. And so now we have a number of services. We do Zoom, and DoxyMe is another platform, sessions. We also do phone sessions with students. We do have our UE Helps line. And if you want, I can bring that up for you right now. Let me try and share screen. Sorry, you're gonna see something from a slide that I've been doing, but there is a slide on this that I want you to see.
Okay.
So students are able to call the Mona office. You see our number here at 9701992. Monday to Friday, we're open 8:30 to 2:30. To just find out, I'm always there. And our psychiatrist is there 3 days a week. Students who were seeing a counselor prior to COVID might want to call to find out what's the email of their counselor, so they can email their counselor to set up a Zoom session or a DoxyMe session. Or some people don't have the internet but are able to call. So we have telephone sessions. We also have a line, right? So you can call the counselor on duty, and the number is also right there. It is 876-521-3473. Right now, Dr. Shields is our psychologist who manages that line, and you can WhatsApp call or text that line. If you, as some people are saying, they're distressed and then you might want to speak to somebody right away. You can also call or text our psychiatrist. Unfortunately, it's not a smartphone, so we don't have WhatsApp for a psychiatrist, but it's 876-551-0018. And we did actually have a call line before. It was UE Helps, and that's a 24-hour line that is also confidential. And so you may call that line 876-294-0042 to speak to a trained counselor. We also now have a class on RVLE, and I'm really trying to advertise this, where we've put up a number of slides. One slide will go up this week on productivity, so that's something that students may be interested in. The name of the class is UHCCS 102. So that's really just University Health Center Counseling Service 102. And there's a one-time password, just one time you have to put it in once you log on to RVLE, which is up here, student@UE. And right now we have a lot of slideshows, but we're hoping to start webinars soon. So I'm also adjusting to RVLE. I have not mastered Blackboard yet, but once I do, we'll be able to have that. So we have a number of services available.
Thank you, Dr. Chambers. So I'm going to ask Mr. McIntosh from Sevon McIntosh from the UE Guild if he can speak to how the Guild have been assisting students during this online learning transition. Sevon? Hold on, I think he might be having a bit of a technical difficulty. I see he's in the room, but I'm not seeing his mic. Let me see. Okay, so while we wait on Sevon, I'm going to ask Mr. Campbell, a lecturer, how has this process been for you? Is there anything different that, is it comfortable for you? How have you been accommodating students now that you're online, given the fact that the students cannot knock on your door? I'm actually very interested to hear your perspective because I'm a student that knocks on doors very regularly. So Mr. Campbell?
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Well, I'm the lecturer and coordinator for this School of Media and Communication at the Western Jamaica campus of Carima. Fortunately, we have been ahead of the curve as it relates to online teaching and learning. And so the only thing that really changed during this time is the mental state of the students, because they were already aware of the platforms. They are already used to using the platforms. And so in this time, for my courses, I've had to readjust the sessions to incorporate a bit of emotional or emotive learning, essentially understanding that emotions can have an impact on learning, and learning in this climate can have an impact on the emotions. So the classes now start with everyone giving a presentation, essentially how they feel, how they've been coping every single time we have class. If they want to turn on their mics or their cameras to speak on it, or if they want to type it out, whatever way that makes them feel comfortable. I've had to set emotional objectives for each session, as in what do I want them to feel at the end of the session, in addition to whatever learning outcome. Do I want them to feel motivated? Do I want them to feel calm? Do I want them to feel excited? Because that essentially is going to have an impact on what they remember from the session. They remember how they feel, and linking that feeling to a particular lecture, a particular set of knowledge and information. So those are the things I've been doing. They are more the teachers now than before, because now they feel far more comfortable to talk about how they feel and link their feelings to the presentation. So in addition to what they would have had to present on. So for example, we looked at semiotics and social codes, and the presentation they had to give us, how has COVID changed the social codes in Jamaica before and after? So the things we used to do in terms of gestures and communication, how has that changed during this time? And housing the lecture in that type of in that way, because it's really about balancing, acknowledging that we're going through something tough, but also making them feel confident that as it relates to their teaching and as it relates to their learning, that we are still on course and on track with that. I think it's also part of what I've been doing is also letting lecturers know that it's not the same. You can't put your camera on and assume that people are going to sit and listen to you for 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's not, that's, and I've been trying to get the university since 2013 to acknowledge that we need to start looking at tutorials as, instead of streams, looking at the different ways people learn and divide the streams like that. Whether it's auditory, I'm an auditory listener, I listen. I may not be looking at the lecturer or paying attention because I'm also a student. Finishing up the PhD. I may not be seeing, but I need to hear in order to remember. Some people are visual. Some people, they need to learn by activities. And we need, and this time more than ever, I think we need to start looking at how people learn and create lessons plan based on how they learn. And for the ones who feel like it's too much, then you should not be here. That's me speaking frankly, because it's really about adaptability, and we can't be rigid while the students adapt and the environment changes. And so these are the things that we as a school have been considering putting in place. So in that way, even if COVID and the way or the physical interaction that we're used to never comes back, it might sound doomsday, but even if it never comes back, teaching still continues. If it does come back, teaching still continues. And I no longer make the online learning, physical learning dichotomy anymore. Learning is learning, and we adjust the environments, because it's not the platform, it's the people. And once we focus on the people, then the platforms are really an extension of us and how we learn. For example, the platform is least important once you have people in mind. This morning in the middle of the lecture, JPS struck, you know, and in my mind, I was like, okay. So I called the class rep and I said, all right, maybe we can pick it up another time, right? And she was like, no, sir, the Blackboard collaborator is still going. You are the only one that's missing. Call in and listen to the presentations by the phone. So they are presenting, Blackboard is still recording, and I am listening over the telephone and conveying the instructions. Because as I said, once the people are in tune, then the platform doesn't matter, right? One person wasn't able to present. I said, just send a voice note via WhatsApp. I'm gonna grade that. All of the conventions that we used to subscribe to. This has made us realize that 9 out of 10 of these things don't matter when it comes to learning and teaching in a way that really connects with people. So my experience has been good. The students, if I were to speak for them, I would say it has also been good, because even before this, I usually ask them how they want to be tested, because when we look at Bloom's taxonomy, there are different things to measure, and there are also different ways to test people. So whatever way makes you feel comfortable, then that's the way we're going to test you. And we usually break it down in different ways, so everyone has a benefit. And this is now the instructions we are now giving students. Is the most comfortable way to learn, do it. You sit in your living room. If your living room is comfortable, sit in your living room. If you're sitting on your bed, wherever is comfortable, that is it. And so I think this is allowing us to realize, as I said, that
It's
people learn in
allowing
different
for,
ways, and the line is that however they learn, we need to meet them there. Yes.
so it for the people who are listening in on the radio, a lot of heads are nodding as Mr. Campbell speak. A lot of people are in support with what he's saying. A lot of have been going on, and it seems like people are more receptive when you show more compassion towards their needs academically, as
Yeah.
well as when you are more innovative or flexible, instead of the one size fit all approach and the 230 lecture slides, and we're supposed
Yeah.
to sit for the 3 hours.
And I don't even think it's compassion. I just think it's being human. Like that's what it is. I still send the slides, but if you want me to present on the slides in the class, or you want us to have a candid discussion, then we can choose. You can look at the slides in your own time and message me at a time that I stipulate between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. because there are still boundaries, right? And we can talk about it further. It's really just about being human and understanding that we are not one-dimensional. Sometimes you want to send an email, sometimes it's easier to send a WhatsApp message. Understand that what is most important is the learning outcome at the end of it.
Okay, so I think Mr. McIntosh is on now. So, Savon, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, sir. You hear me now?
Yes, we're able to hear you. So, can you speak a little bit to what the Guild has been doing? How have you been assisting students during this time? So, can you give us a little bit about that?
Well, the guild has been doing a lot. It's very hard on us also being students, but it's also useful because being current students, we're able to understand what the students are going through as well.
Mm-hmm.
We would have started with the course restructure and assessment criteria for students. This would have been facilitated by the guild president and the faculty representatives. So there were a lot of meetings, and the faculty representatives are participating in the discourses that would have ensured that the course restructure did not put any student at a disadvantage, disenfranchise anybody. It took into account specific learning styles as best as possible. And something that came out of our discussion is that we tend to find that the delivery of courses are in line with how the lecturer is, and sometimes it doesn't take into account the needs of the student.
Yeah.
And so it was very important that as guild counselors we aligned the best practices in terms of achieving the learning objectives and the best student outcome for the online platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Then we would have realized as well that there are a number of students who are now being faced with what we consider now the digital divide.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a guild, the president, in conjunction with the office of the principal, would have started the tablet loan scheme, and they've received a number of tablets, and at present they're distributing it through the local libraries. I think an email was sent out recently regarding this specific initiative. Through my office in particular, I'm taking charge of the data plans, because that's another side of it. And we've started to issue it. So in conjunction with the faculty representatives, the hall chairs, we're trying as best to assist as many students who have the challenge of not being able to afford data plans or internet, the cost for the monthly plans for the internet connection. So that is something. The data plans that I'm working with is in conjunction with the UAA as well. So they're very instrumental in this entire process. I'm also working with the UE Alumni Association to secure laptops, which is another side of the entire devices for students. So that is something that is being sorted out now. And once it's final, then the students will start to benefit from it. The guild offers as well financial assistance. We do it twice per year, once in semester 1 and once in semester 2. But the vice president of services and special project has found it necessary that we do a third disbursement, especially in light of the fact that a number of financial resources have been compromised for students. The ways that they would pay for their tuition, their hall fees, because some of them do have outstanding balances as well. To meet that requirement to sit their exams in June, the guild is coordinating with its affiliates in an effort to raise funds so we can support students in terms of their eligibility to sit exams.
Okay.
Recently as well, I think it was this weekend, yes, the Saturday past, there was we do find that a lot of students are, of course, are being affected in terms of their mental health. It's a very hard process adjusting to online learning. And so there was a session as well with the counseling unit, chaplain, and a few other individuals this past weekend to provide some insight as to how students can navigate the period and protect, of course, their mental health. And an initiative to come up under the Public Relations Officer's portfolio is something that has to deal with exercising, because it's very important as well. Doctors have said that if you have that blood flowing, it assists with the academic process, and of course students can facilitate the ideal academic outcome that they want. So those are the things that we have done so far and are going to do in the future.
Okay, thank you, Mr. McIntosh. So, for the students who would like to reach out to the guild for any assistance, how would they be able to contact you? Is it via social media primarily, via email? Like, how will the students be able to contact the guild?
In terms of contacting the guild normally uses the social media platforms.
Okay.
That's on Twitter and Instagram at UMona Guild.
Okay.
It's a very, very, very popular at UMona Guild. And you can also reach out to them through your faculty pages, to your faculty representatives, if it's something specific to the faculty. For general issues, you can always reach out to any executive via their personal page, or you can send it directly to the guild president at umonaguildpresident at gmail.com.
Okay, thank you so much. So we're going to ask Ms. Larmond to speak about the Commuting Students Office of Commuting Students, and how they have been serving students before COVID-19 and now virtually. Ms. Larmond?
Okay, yes, I'm here. So good evening, everyone. Just like to say thank you all for coming out. We really thought that this was a very important session for students to know about, what resources there are that can assist them, and, how we as a UE staff team really can reach out and help students during this period. So the Commuting Students Office, we are really responsible for commuting students out of classroom learning and development in every aspect of out of classroom learning that you can think of. Pre-COVID-19, we would have been doing a lot of programs with our students. We had sessions as it relates to their time management, and these are normally partnerships with, say, academic support units. We would have had goal setting sessions. We'd have sessions that relates to student housing, off-campus housing, and how we can really help students to understand that kind of environment that they're in. And safer sex, mental health sessions and so forth. So we've been doing a lot as it relates to how we interact with students while we were face-to-face. Now, COVID came and we had to adjust to the environment that students are now in. And so our adjustment started really with us getting our website up and running so that students could really connect with us through our website and find out what is happening within the Commuting Students Office and also within the UE. So we would have had our calendar of events, including other events that are happening on campus. And because we're on the UE site, it's zero rated, so you can just come on and look. We've also been sending out messages via banner, which covers all students, not just commuting students. So students would have been getting emails from us in both their UE emails and their personal emails about how to reach out to us. And now what we have been doing with those information that students would have contacted us, we would have been connecting them to resources on campus. So we would have had students calling or messaging us about, say, the fact that they can't get into their faculty. They're having issues with registering for class. They're having issues with bursary, myriads of issues. And what we would have done is connect them to those resources on campus. We would have either messaged the departments individually or reply to the students by message and copying the departments that are related to the issues that they're having, or we would have directly linked the students to the WhatsApp groups or WhatsApps that the offices on campus would have had. Students really in this time were just thinking about how am I really going to manage throughout this period. So even something simple that you would think a student would know, like, okay, let me email my lecturer and say to them that this is an issue. They didn't think about those things. So, the Office of the Commuting Students Office, what we did was to try to support them as best as possible with the smallest of issues that they have, which would be a big issue to them. So we would have had students, for example, in programs that are joint programs between, for example, UE and Edna Manley, and they would have think about, okay, how is this program working now? Do I contact Edna Manley? Do I contact UE about things that are happening? And we've had to stand in between and help the students to connect to both institutions during this time. So in a nutshell, what we have been doing in the Commuting Students Office is really linking our students to resources, trying to help them with those issues that may seem minor, but are very major, right? We've also been trying to partner a lot with different departments so that students can be developed more. So for example, for the last month, we would have been doing a lot of sessions with placement and career services for our final year students. So our final year students would have issues as it relates to work and travel programs that they're no longer going on and want to find out how they can actually get back monies or so forth. They would have missed out on, say, mock interview sessions. We've been having those sessions with them, resume writing, how to prepare. And surprisingly, we've gotten a lot of partnership as well from external agencies. So for example, we had a number of HR managers coming on board to help with mock interviews through placement and career services. We've been having sessions with academic support unit, and we've also tapped into, through our student leaders, the counseling unit. So we would have had Instagram lives with the counseling unit, just to try to reach our students in different spheres, because not everybody is on Instagram, not everybody is on WhatsApp, have a WhatsApp, or or can get connection at varying points. So we use various methods to ensure that our students get the material and get the support that they need. I'm really grateful for this session because it really says a lot, and we can all post it on our different pages after we've recorded this. So a session, the session could be placed on the counseling units page, on the guild page, on different sent to students via their emails, so that they can see what's happening and how they can tap into these resources. So that's what we've been doing, and we really want to continue to do more to help our students to adjust.
Yeah, following up on that statement, that's very true, because right now we have around 30 students on the platform, but when we